This is the Nikon 50mm 1.8G lens for Nikon DX and FX bodies, and today I'm going to be making a full review for you guys. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that nice little intro which gave you a bit of a look into what this lens looks like and some of the features of this. So in this video I'm going to be going over some of my thoughts and opinions after using this lens for a while, and ultimately telling you if you should buy one. Now, just as a bit of a kind of disclaimer, I'm actually filming this video right now on the 50mm 1.8 lens from Nikon, and we are currently shooting at f1.8, so you can get a nice idea of what this lens looks like from this video. Now, if you would like a bit of a more in-depth review with some more specs and things like that, the first link in the description will take you to an article on our website, which you can go check out as well. But I'm going to be covering most of the topics here on YouTube, so please keep on watching and enjoy this video. Now, the first thing I kind of noticed when I took this out of the box was that this is a really nicely designed and well built lens. It is bigger than my previous lenses, the 40mm and the kit lens, and it is quite noticeable. The front element is a lot wider. It doesn't stick out too far from the camera, making it a lot nicer to travel with and things like that, but this is certainly a solid, high quality lens, especially for its price tag. Now, in the bag you get the lens itself. You also get a lens cap, which is extremely handy for travelling and things, so you don't scratch up the front element, and you also get a carry pouch, again for travelling, and a lens hood which will do things like block sun flares and could also add some protection if you happen to drop your lens. Now, I mentioned that the front element is bigger, and this does have a slight downside. So this has a bigger thread on the front of the lens to the likes of the 18 to 55 and the things like the 35 and the 40mm lenses from Nikon. Now, this will not be a big deal to too many people, but for those who use filters on the front of their cameras, for example a UV filter, a polarized filter, or a neutral density ND filter, this is going to be a big issue, as instead of you being able to switch out those filters on each of your lenses, you're going to have to buy separate bigger filters, though again most people are not going to be affected by this. On the side of the lens you will see a switch which enables you to switch between full manual focus or manual override. So manual override basically allows for autofocus, but if you like, you can simply turn that focus ring and it will let you choose the focus yourself. Now, focus is a big deal on this lens because when you're using the f1.8, that makes the depth of field very shallow, meaning that a lot will be out of focus. Like you can see now, my background is slightly out of focus and my face should be in focus. So really the autofocus on this lens is not the best, as this is of course not the most professional of lenses. It is more of a budget lens, but for most people this is good enough. It's not going to be the quickest, it's not going to be the quietest, but if you're just taking landscape photos and things like that, this will be more than adequate. And of course you have that manual override if you would like to take control of the focus yourself. Now, as I said, this is a 1.8 lens, and for most people this is going to be an extremely good aperture. So if you don't know what aperture is, it's basically the hole that the light goes through, the size of that. So this has a much bigger hole than most other lenses. For example, the 18 to 55 is only something like a maximum aperture of 3.5 compared to the 1.8 on this. I know it's confusing, but lower numbers actually mean a bigger hole. Now, this lets more light in, making this a better performer in low light situations, and will also give you a much nicer depth of field. So if you would like that nice, smooth, out of focus area with your subject in focus, then this is a really nice lens, and the ability to go down to that low aperture is something that is really handy to have, and I have loved using this. It makes shots look much more professional, much nicer, and of course if you don't want that aperture you can simply change the settings and bump it up to something like an f8, and you can get everything in focus. So yeah, this aperture is extremely impressive, and if you are a beginner photographer or something like that, you're going to be extremely impressed by the performance of this lens. Now, alongside that, it also delivers extremely sharp and very strong colours in its images, which is of course nice to see, and this is definitely a very good performer. This is an extremely versatile lens that you can use for many things, and it is definitely a consistent photo taker. You're going to get really nice crisp shots out of this. no matter what body you put this on, as long as of course it fits, it's going to give you some really nice performance. Now this is compatible with both DX and FX bodies, so this could be good for professional cameras and beginner cameras. Now the DX crop factor goes up to 75 of course, because it is that smaller sensor, but that is still a very acceptable focal length and will be good enough for most people. Now I mentioned that the price of this lens is extremely impressive, and I will of course leave links for current pricing and availability down in the description, but this currently comes in at about £140 in the UK and around about $200. Now this may seem a lot to some of you, but if you compare it to most other lenses, this is a brilliant price. This is extremely cheap for what it is, and for the images it delivers, I'm extremely happy with the price. And that is the main selling point of this lens for me. It delivers extremely impressive professional images at an extremely budget price, and I would definitely recommend this as your second lens after buying your camera. This is a brilliant upgrade from the kit lens, or even getting this alongside your camera. It's extremely easy to use. You can take brilliant photos out of the box without having much knowledge about photography. And even then, it is a good enough lens for professionals to use. There is a 1.4 version that is slightly more expensive, though to be honest, for most people this is definitely going to be good enough, and that price is just irresistible. It's extremely cheap for what it is, and it's a very impressive price tag to pull off. Now of course this is a prime lens, it's stuck at 50mm, so you don't have any options to zoom, so if you want to do that you're going to have to crop in post, losing a bit of resolution. But for me, certainly, I do not mind the prime lenses. I enjoy using prime lenses, and I don't really need zoom as a feature. Of course, if you're going out walking and things like that, or you're doing bird photography, things like that where you need that longer focal length, this is not going to be the one for you. But as I said, if you don't really need that zoom, this is going to be a perfectly nice lens. Now, as I said, I'm using this to record this video, and I have it mounted on my Nikon D5200 body, and this is, in my mind, one of the best beginner setups you can get. It's a very cheap combo, and delivers beautiful images and very, very nice video. Now you can use this lens for either photo or video, and it performs brilliantly with both. This f1.8 is brilliant for getting those nice video shots and also really crisp photos. So if you're into both video and photo like me, this is perfect. If you're starting off a YouTube channel, this could be the perfect lens for you. And in my mind, this is the perfect kind of all-rounder. Nifty 50 is the phrase a lot of photographers use, as 50mm is very similar to what your eye sees. Now, of course, on a DX body, this is going to crop slightly more, so you're slightly more zoomed in, but 50mm is pretty much the perfect starting point for a focal length if you're buying another lens. It's going to give you really nice photos, and I would certainly recommend this for people who are just starting off, even though this will be good for people who know a bit more about photography as well. Now, as I said, there will of course be that more in-depth article down in the description if you're interested in seeing that, so you can check that out. And as I said, the cheapest pricing and availability will be down in the description, which again you can check out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, and why not subscribe to my channel for more content. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the description below, or email me at the address in the description. Thank you very much for watching. See you.